Welcome to Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Justin.
And this week we are doing road trip movies. And we have a guest on, Shane. Shane, introduce yourself and give us what your rundown of your favorite movies, what movies you usually like to watch.
So my favorite movies, first one's definitely Forrest Gump. And then I also like Avatar. And then I have two cats and they're both named after characters from How to Train Your Dragon. So that's definitely up there. But I really like comedy movies and action movies are my favorite genres.
Awesome. Well, that goes kind of along with what our theme is this week with road trip movies, because there's a lot of comedies, a lot of action type of movies. Well, before we get into what road trip movies did, are there any stuff that you watched this past week or any shows? I can go start, or if you want to, Justin.
Yeah, I started watching Marvel's miniseries on Disney Plus about Marvel Zombies. I watched the What If show and it's kind of based off that, but so far it's good. Everybody has good reviews for it. I think that people are just excited that there's a developing plot through the episodes where the What If show is kind of like one episode stories, each story. So people are more excited just to see one linear story again. But so far, so good.
Anything you've been watching, Shane?
Yeah, I started watching Only Murders in the Building. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I've been watching it with my wife, and it's kind of funny and kind of weird at the same time, and it's fun to kind of try to figure out what's all happening and playing that detective theme yourself.
Yeah, I started watching Only Murders in the Building too. I'm really into crime podcasts, so I think that show is kind of made for people that are into that. But also, I've been keeping up with Task, a new show on HBO. And then I watched a couple of movies in preparation for the road trip draft that we're going to have at the end. And I'll talk to you before that. And as well as I started rewatching Friday Night Lights, the show. It came out in 2008. Shit's banging. I was like, wait, why is this so good? It's so entertaining. And it just reminds me of high school and all that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah. And then I also watched One Battle After Another. Friday night. Great movie. Highly recommend it. We'll probably talk about it in a couple of weeks on Paul Thomas Anderson in the podcast, but great movie. Insane watch. But let's get into road trip films. So what do road trip films really mean to you? For me, road trip films are a really fun way to just see how a journey progresses. Most movies are based off of personal journeys, but it's cool to see an actual journey while people are developing themselves as well along it. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of times the road trip movies will use that journey to also carry the journey of the character over. A lot of times we might have to see a character developing in one spot, but the journey on the road trip film really carries their arc all the way to the end.
And I think they really use different landmarks, physical landmarks, to represent different points in their emotional journey or growth of themselves. And you can see those steps they take.
No, yeah, for sure. I think it's just a fun topic. And then also, you think of road trips, it's just you're just going on something else for yourself personally. It could either be something as small as a 4-hour road trip to go somewhere, or doing a cross country. I've done both, and you see yourself going through those different types of stuff that could just be really fun. So the movies that we did this week were Almost Famous and Rain Man. I think all three of us haven't seen either movies before this week, right?
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised by both of them that one, didn't see it before, but also how good they were. One of them is a Best Picture nominee. The other, Almost Famous, also a bunch of nominations for it. So getting into Almost Famous, it came out in 2000, directed by Cameron Crowe, and it's a comedy drama. That's what they really put it under. I would say it's more on the drama side. There's some parts that are funny, but I think it's more of a drama. What do you guys think?
I definitely agree. It's mostly drama. There was a few little points that made you, I guess, snickers, but it was not the point to be a funny movie.
Yeah, there was comedic relief in there, but definitely a drama for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So some awards. So Cameron Crowe, the other movies that he's directed is Jerry Maguire and Vanilla Sky. Two very great, good movies that have also been nominated a bunch. But his filmography, honestly, isn't that big. Now, this movie's kind of based on a true story of how he was a Rolling Stone writer as a kid. So it's kind of based off of what his journeys that he had. No specific band that he covered, though, in this movie that it depicts.
I've read that the Allman Brothers said it was most based off of them, but there was other bands, kind of flaked in there that for specific scenes.
Yeah, I did read that too. And then there's actually a band called Stillwater that released a couple albums, and then apparently they had like a legal trouble before the movie came out, and then I think they just ended up paying them out like some money to like still make the movie. So it also got 4 nominations at the Oscars: Best Actress for Kate Hudson and Frances McDormand, which Kate Hudson's like the groupie, McDormand's the mother, and then Best Original Screenplay and Best Film Editing. And then Kate Hudson won a Golden Globe for Best Actress, which I thought that was interesting. So getting into the plot, I gave it 8 out of 10. I thought it was very like easy to follow movie to where you weren't like, what's happening right now? Like you could look away for like 5 minutes or like be on your phone and then look up and you wouldn't be lost at all. But with that being said, I don't think there was anything to make it past what I gave it with an 8 rating. I thought it was just like a normal, like a usual plot, if that makes sense. What do you guys think?
I really like the plot. Just, the idea of this kid who's definitely in way over his head, getting into this world that his mom's been warning him about for so long. And he really gets to face the trials and tribulations through all of that. I thought it was a really cool way to depict it. And obviously, like you said, it's kind of like partially based on a true story of his upbringing. So just seeing that story told is cool.
So I actually gave it a 9 out of 10 because I thought it was interesting. It was almost felt like there was 2 separate plots going, kind of one following the band and Russell, and then one following the growth of William. So it was cool seeing them how they intertwined and jumped back and forth between each other.
Yeah. At 8 is still like a really good score for me, but with Russell, I saw his plot like going all over the place. Like for him, like one moment he was like, oh, like he was being a good person, but then like literally 5 minutes later, he'd just be like meaning to like the kid. like he would say like one thing and then just do a total different thing, which is kind of, I mean, he's a lead of a
Couldn't
rock
that have
band,
shown his internal struggles? And that's kind of one of the main things he was working on throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, I think that definitely is. And then towards the end of the film, you could kind of see this resolution in his head. It was like, you know what, screw it. Like this kid was actually really good and like a really good person and all this. I don't want to ruin him for just telling the truth, because he could have just easily just kept up the lie that they were like, none of this was true. We actually are great people as a band. It's like, are you?
And he also realized that they both loved Penny the same. Like they both cared about her a tremendous amount, and they should care about each other too. Then
what I got from that was that he saw how he should have treated Penny through him. And that he was like, well, you actually did what I was supposed to do, but you did it better. And you actually loved her and showed it through your actions, while I loved her and didn't show it through my actions. And this is why I'm giving this back to you.
Yeah.
I'm getting into characters. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I found the band really like compelling in a lot of different ways. And then also like not liking a couple of them. Have you guys seen Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Yeah.
Dave, I don't even know what his name is in the movie. Actually, I don't remember at all, but
it was
his
Jeff.
Character. Yeah, I did not like him. I did not like Jeff like the whole movie, but that's what I thought was so great. I was like, is that the guy that plays Dave from Out of the Chipmunks?
I didn't realize that until just now.
There's a lot of like really big names who just made like small appearances in this movie, but I don't think a lot of them were that big yet.
Couple of them were like stars still coming out. So like Philip Seymour Hoffman, for example, like Boogie Nights is like a year or two before this, and before he starts going like this dominant run. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, I feel like is such a good character actor, where every movie I've seen him in, he just like blows it away and like kind of like like just does better than a lot of other people than would do with his like character act.
And then we also had like Jimmy Fallon was in it. Trying to think who else. Rainn Wilson from The Office was in it. Yeah, just like random people would just show up.
I really like Penny Lane in it, like her, like the way she is. Like at first she gives off like just a regular groupie vibe, but then you can see like she doesn't just like the fame. She actually really loves their music and like really loves them as a band, and really sees like the good in Billy, or like Billy's character, like Crudup's character, the main. So she really sees the good in Russell, where like we probably don't see the good in him. We see this internal struggle for him, and he doesn't treat her well at all. But like she sees like the good side until it's too late, and then sees the wife, and then that whole situation goes down.
Just to find out that Jeff cheated with his wife as well.
Yeah. just overall, like very compelling band. Like they're all growing and all this, but like most of them are not the best people. And then get into like the characters all like revealing who they are. on like the plane right before it's crashing. That's a great scene. That's such a great gimmicky scene where like they all think they're about to die, so they're all like revealing stuff. Jimmy Fallon saying, "I killed a man." I think about it every day. Like, okay.
Then the drummer who didn't have a line in the whole movie just comes out and he's like, "I'm gay."
Yeah, it's like, all right.
Everybody
And
just
then it's just like
pauses.
immediately.
Oh, we're fine now.
Yeah. Oh man, it was awesome. And then getting into cinematography, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was very well shot and like different angles and all that. For me, maybe it was just like a little bit like unclear with some of the stuff, like as far as like the actual like vision of it. It could be like when it came out was in 2000, but I've seen some movies from earlier that look a little bit better.
My favorite parts were actually when they were performing, and the cinematography there made you actually feel like you were backstage in the concert, which I really liked.
Yeah. No, that was really like a cool note to notice. Then also how well they played, like they looked like a real band, even though none of the music in it is actually from the actors. It's because they would practice like 5 hours a day just as like a band trying to play together to learn how to make it look real, even though it wasn't actually their music.
Yeah. So the one guy, Billy Crudup, I saw him in an interview just explaining that he never had picked up an instrument in his life, but everybody else in the band had like a little bit of experience in it, and he just felt lost the whole time. Like he was sitting at home like late at night trying to practice to just make it look like he knew how to play.
I mean, good on him because you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
You could tell.
I would have never known.
Getting into the dialogue, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it felt very real. Some of it very lived up, but also like coming from like a band that thinks that they're bigger than something that they actually are. Like a lot of them were like, especially Jeff, thinking that he's like, they're about to be the biggest rock band of all time. And it's like, really? Like, are you really going to be? You guys have like one hit song. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I thought it was also very quotable. Like there was one from Lester Bang that I really liked. The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool. So it's like the memories you make with the people that actually care. And then I watched it with my wife, and she hadn't seen the movie, and she had seen it before, but not in years. And then on one of Penny's lines, she just randomly started quoting along with it. And so it just shows like the impact that the movie had with the dialogue.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm a big dialogue person in the movies. If it's really well done, then I really like the movie itself. And if it's a little short, that's where I usually like fault a movie at it. And for this, it just felt very real. Where you couldn't really like say that none of it could have been true, or none of it's too far fetched about someone saying, especially when he's like on drugs and he's on it, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, "Oh, I'm a superstar." He's
I'm
like,
a
"Wait,
golden
did I
god."
say that?" Yeah. He's like, "I'm a god," and then they're like trying to fact base at the end. He's like, "Wait, I never said that." He's like, "Wait, did I say that?" I was like, "Oh, that's funny." Yeah.
I thought the dialogue between William and Penny was really good too. Like I know he loved her, but she was definitely like a mentor for him throughout the whole movie, and just kind of learning how to be around that crowd
and how to like not let them totally abuse you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even like, because PR or like people that back then, like the way that they used to write stories and all that are a lot different now. That like I was listening to one podcast and how back then, like living with them and all that was a lot different, and they would like buy you booze and all this to make you write better about them. While nowadays people don't really do that anymore. It's more like interview style, and then you don't actually like get to like be with someone. So I feel like back then it was probably just a lot different, the way that media was like portrayed with each other, and like how you could just kind of buy them off.
And they knew that too. I mean, they kept joking with them, calling them the enemy, like watch out for the enemies in the room and all that stuff.
And he loved the band, like he just really did. But towards the end, like after like the whole Penny scene, and then they're like, "You just got to write the truth, man." And he did, and they didn't like it, and they're like, he was the enemy the whole time. I was right. Now getting into acting, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought the side characters, so a mother, Frances McDormand, and Phyllis Seymour Hoffman were like very big highlights for me. And then also I think Kate Hudson was great, like her as Penny Lane. Like I think that's a very iconic character. My one hit is William as a child actor. I thought a lot of the acting was very not the best. I don't know. That's like my biggest hit was just him specifically.
I read that he came in super late into the process of making this movie. I heard it was supposed to be Brad Pitt, but he backed out.
So Brad Pitt was actually supposed to play Russell's character.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
It's like,
for
dang,
a young
William's
kid,
gonna
that
be
wouldn't really
old.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah, but
he
with
was supposed to,
William's character, I felt like I couldn't really read his face at all. Like it was always just a weird expression he was giving.
yeah, I don't know. Don't want to hit on the actor a little too much, but I think there's a reason why he isn't in a lot of other stuff from this. And also, like, comparing it to last week, we did Stand By Me. It's like with some of the best like child actor performances I've ever seen. And then going into this movie, I was like, it's definitely definitely a difference you could see. I don't think he ruins the movie by far. I think he's just like the weakest like act. And he's also around like some great ones that are just like shooting 10 out of 10s right around him. Even Zoe Deschanel, which from New Girl, her coming up, I was like, okay.
I thought
Yeah.
Russell was pretty great in this. I know, like you said earlier, sometimes his character would jump like really fast from being really nice to like an a-hole, but I thought he did a good job at portraying that. Like I never really knew what was going on in his head. I didn't know if he was in that angry state of mind where he like was messing with William or if he was like truly being friendly to William again. It was pretty good. I think that it didn't help that William's like face didn't display much, but if it did, I think it would have added to their relationship better.
I definitely agree with the Brad Pitt part. Brad Pitt ended up like turning down the role after like even reading a bunch of lines and all that because he said that it just wasn't for him. Which I don't know. Like I think there was one other movie we did that it would make a lot of Memento. That like seems like a Brad Pitt role. This does not seem like a Brad Pitt role. I feel like if he was in it, there wouldn't be much of a difference of impact to the movie. But now getting into sound effects or the soundtrack, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was awesome. It fit the movie perfectly. Just like, and then Led Zeppelin usually doesn't score, like doesn't give their songs to a lot of movies. But so then they showed the movie to Led Zeppelin, and then they were like, okay, yeah, you can use 4 of our songs.
Yeah, the soundtrack was pretty awesome. I think it was the perfect combo of, rock music going on around that time. I mean, you had everything from Elton John, Zeppelin. I thought it was perfect.
I thought it was just crazy that they opened with Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
The irony in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And then I also really liked how a lot of the songs were actually playing in the scenes. It wasn't just like background music. They were part of it was actually part of what the characters were doing.
Yeah, which is, again, I wonder how, like, just looking into like how the director did it / like how they edited it in with having that music where none of them are actually like they're playing it, but they're not the actual like soundtrack to it because they would record separately and then bring it back into it. So it's just like a really good like way to line up with each other that I thought was which could get into editing more so because I think that's more of an editing thing. But the bassist he's a bassist for Pearl Jam, which I didn't know that either, which is pretty cool. Also makes sense why he didn't talk a lot, but like he wasn't like a big like actor, but that's also kind of cool that they had like some people integrated with him that were actually in like real bands, really big bands. Getting into set design, I gave it a 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Again, like what we talked before, how they're on stage and how the cinematographer was moving around with it, but it's also like it felt like a real like rock set.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the set design too, going from city to city, it changed a lot. It displayed that road trip feel of kind of like what Shane was saying earlier, the scenery changing with the characters, especially to kind of finish it all off in New York, such a crazy, hectic city. It felt really hectic there at the end.
And it definitely felt like the set.
Yeah, especially the big bus. The bus is like, when you think of a road trip movie, it's like, okay, yeah, like that bus is like a good example of like what you can think of.
Side note, I thought that when they were going on tour for their second tour, the tour name was No More Airplanes Tour.
That was hilarious.
Yep. I like how they're on a bus like the whole time until a plane. And then the moment they're on the plane, that's like where it all goes wrong. Getting into directing, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Again, with like having those integrated parts, I think it's a very difficult movie to direct. I just wonder, because now looking back at like Rob Reiner's film with how he did Stand By Me, could he have pushed the child actor to do a little bit better in some scenes? Is like my one, again, note where I think a director takes a lot of like ownership with the child actors. You got to kind of push them because they're just starting. Like Most of them don't know what they're doing. What do you guys think? Like directing
Yeah,
wise?
I mean, I think there's only so much you can do there. I mean, obviously the kid, you don't see him in anything else anymore, so maybe he just
Yeah.
wasn't fit to be that great of an actor. But
It's good. I don't know that much into how the directing works and everything like that, but I think he did a good job making the different portions flow together.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting because it's kind of based off of his own life.
Yeah, that too.
He was a Rolling Stone writer, and he kind of integrated parts of like his own. So I thought that was really cool, and I don't think many directors, like I don't think any other director could have directed this film based off of that fact, unless they also grew up with that stuff. But now getting into editing, I also gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was very well edited. Again, with those different music shots outside, and then bringing it into the actual scene, I feel like it's incredibly difficult to do. What do you guys think?
yeah, and to make the band look so good on stage, like Shane was saying, those scenes were really mind blowing because it just felt like you were hanging out backstage with William and Penny and their British manager. I forgot his name, but just hanging out backstage with them, watching these giant shows. It looks so real.
Yeah.
I also liked how they did the camera cuts in conversations, because when they were going back and forth, especially in the arguments, it felt like you were standing there looking at one person talking and then looking back at the other person talking and like being a part of the conversation too.
Mm-hmm. I really like those shots as like just like in most movies when they do them, because it's like so like each director does it a little bit differently, and it's so interesting to see how each one does it. Kind of think of like a good example, The Dark Knight, for example, like the way that they shoot like the conversation between the Joker and Batman, and how like
Yeah,
they give like complete like you just tell it's just like the camera and then just those two, and I think those are always like some of my favorite shots when it's well done. Finishing off with theme, I give it a 9 out of 10. I feel like this is a very unique movie in the way how, again, how you said you got different sides of plots with a band and the person, but then you also see a kid around grown adults that are trying to make it within like their career field, while this kid is like just starting off his life, which I can't think of many other movies that would have this like kind of theme around it about like growing within yourself, but also like getting out of your shell.
no, yeah, there's a lot of different themes going on in this movie that I thought were pretty great. You know, just like trying to find your true identity as well as trying to be quote unquote cool for whatever group you're in. I thought it was pretty great all around.
Yeah, I also gave it a 9 out of 10 because it felt like a coming of age film, but it was for many different stages in life. Like the band was growing as a band, becoming more popular and all that. William was growing and going way outside his comfort zone and realizing that he took a step too far. And then Penny realizing that this life is no longer for her and moving on and growing.
Yeah. And then even the mother, like letting go
Mhm.
and like letting your kid do what she's got to, like stop being such a helicopter parent, pretty much, to sum it up. Again, Frances McDormand, she's great. There's a reason why she has 3 Oscars to herself. Every single movie that she's been in, I'm like, yeah, she knows what she's doing. Like, she just plays it so well.
Can we talk about that 180 though? Because in the beginning, it made it very clear that, you know, she was a crazy helicopter parent. And obviously she wanted to go a little bit easier on William because that's the reason her daughter left and never came back. But you don't have to let him like get kidnapped by a rock band and
Yeah.
go have sex and
So
do drugs all the time. Like 180.
It was set in the 70s, so I feel like that has like a big impact on like what that is too. And then I think for her, it's like, yeah, he's only 15, but then you're acting most of his life he's been 2 years ahead of his age.
Yeah.
He's been acting like he's pretty much 18 already. He's very mature as a kid. And then also, again, with like seeing her daughter leave, it's like, well, he's going to do what he's going to do. And like, either I have to accept it. And I think she's like, throughout the time, like you'd see her easing up a little bit more about it, because she's just like, well, there's not much I can actually do about this, because either he's going to leave me or he's going to come back and wish he would, and like be happy that like he got that experience.
Yeah.
So I think that was her own self character growth, but it was a complete 180. But like, I feel like as a parent, you got to kind of like learn too how to let loose. Now,
Yeah,
I don't see I don't see mothers nowadays doing that, letting a 15-year-old go on a tour. But 70s, I don't know, maybe they just would let them do that. Okay, now getting into who's your favorite character. I feel like there's a lot in here, so I feel like it's just Interesting question.
I would have to say Russell. I liked him the best. Just kind of like you were talking about earlier, how you never truly knew what Russell you were going to see on a day-to-day basis. And then obviously by the end, he didn't really choose to go to William to apologize. He kind of sent him there. But I thought that was a good moment when he kind of realized and his whole character arc came together.
Mine was actually Lester Bang. I know he was a smaller character in it, but he had a major impact on William. He gave him his start, and then Will went his own way, but Lester still supported him. Lester definitely saw himself in William and like tried to save him from mistakes that he probably made in his early career too.
Yeah, Lester Bangs is definitely a scene stealer. Every time he's in it, you
Yeah.
just forget that any other actors are in the same scene. Mine was Penny Lane. I think she's like the most iconic from the movie itself, and you could see her learning herself, but I think she has like such true good intentions, and then she's just like kind of abused as like a person by someone that she loves and also loves her, but like doesn't know how to do himself right. Yeah, I really like her lines, and then like how much she cared for William too. But yeah, and then what was your guys' favorite, or what? Yeah, what was your favorite scene?
I think my favorite scene was at the end when William finally gets his interview. I thought it was the perfect wrap up. And, he asked Russell, what's your favorite thing about music? He stands up, flips around the chair and says, let me just tell you, first off, it's everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely a good wrap up. And you're like, he finally got to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Mine was definitely the plane scene. Like we talked about it a bit earlier, how it was such a jumbled mess of so many hard points coming together, and finding out so much information about all the different characters. But then it seems like somehow that actually made them a little tighter and stronger, even though they said and did some horrible things. But it was a very well cut scene, and it had a major shift in the movie.
yeah. Mine's a plane scene as well. I think it was so well shot. Had me like laughing out loud. But then like right when it ends, you kind of just feel the realization of like, okay, yeah, that was a really funny scene, but also like now it's like really like serious all of a sudden. And everyone's like looking at each other and no one wants to talk anymore. No one wants to be the first one to be like, so
Everybody
what do
was
you
so
guys think?
mad.
Yeah.
Everybody was so mad. And then the pilot just opens the door. He's like, we're alive.
We made it somehow. And they're all like, well, and the guy that literally said he was gay, and then it's just like, I also think most of the people weren't surprised by that. They were just like, all right, dude, like you just had to say something, huh?
I don't think he had a
Like-
line the whole beginning of the movie.
He's like, I think I'm gay. And it's like, all right. So it was so funny. It just started off with like, he's like, I just always wanted to get this off my chest. It's like, they don't even know that like the plane's about to crash. Like this is right, like just turbulence.
Yeah.
He's like, I've killed a man and I think about it every day. It's like, oh, wow.
His character came in just to tell them to start flying because it'll get them more money. And then just to tell them that he killed somebody. That was his whole
It's like,
character
all right.
arc.
And then you don't see him again, and you're like, all right, maybe they just are like, all right, let's leave this guy. Now getting into my overall rating, I gave it an 8.0 out of 10 or 80 out of 100. I really like the movie. I could see this. It's totally rewatchable too. Like I could see myself coming back and watch this movie if I want to watch like a fun rock band kind of movie. A very unique one too. That I think this wouldn't be a movie that I went out of my way to go see, but now that I have, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I gave it a 8.9, so definitely a little bit higher. But like you're saying, this movie is right up my alley, and I don't know why I have never seen this before.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It was really good.
Tyler, I gave it the exact same score as you, an 8 flat. And yeah, it was. I normally don't like dramas or that kind of stuff, but because like sometimes movies I feel like are too short to fully invest in the characters. But this had enough different hard points in like the road trip throughout it that allowed you to really get into and enjoy the characters. So yeah, I gave it
for
a
sure.
8 flat.
Yeah. Now getting into our next movie, Rain Man. Justin, if you want to take the reins.
Yeah. I won't be able to talk about like the awards and stuff. I didn't really read much up on those, but
Oh, I can read into it real quick if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the accolades. So it's a Best Picture winner. It won Best Picture that year. Best Director, Best Actor with Dustin Hoffman, Best Screenplay. And then it was nominated for 4 others of Art Direction, Cinematography, Film Editing, Original Score. Yeah, it's a pretty big hitter. I mean, as a Best Picture winner. So
Yeah. And to kind of jump into it, I gave the plot an 8. So obviously, just quick run through. Charlie Babbitt is like a car dealer in LA, I believe, and he learned that his father died. So he goes back home to Cincinnati for the funeral, everything like that. And he learned that the money was put into a trust. Not sure why. He eventually goes to the care facility and finds out he has an older brother, Raymond, played by Dustin Hoffman, and the $3 million fortune was all left with him. And then motivated to get the money, he kidnaps Raymond and tries to take him to LA and kind of hold him hostage to at least get half the money. But, throughout the plot, he learns it's not all about the money. And he was kind of also really upset that he never knew about his brother. And by the end, he realizes he just wishes he had a relationship with him. I thought it was a pretty great plot. I think this story moved on. And, like we talked about with the previous film, the road trip aspect really showed the characters developing throughout the trip. And it was really good.
yeah, Charlie, I don't know what is what kind of shady stuff his car dealership gets into. But the whole movie, I was like, what kind of business is this? Like, what is going on? Man, this is such like an 80s movie to the T. So like some of it's so sketchy, but then you're also like, it's the 80s. Like you can't overthink it.
What'd you think about the plot, Shane?
I thought it was pretty good. I also gave it an 8 out of 10. It kind of has, I guess, the basis of it of someone doing whatever they can to make some money, but then it bringing in like the family and the caring and seeing that dynamic shift throughout the movie was really cool.
Yeah, and you can also like see towards the end of the movie, like the entire movie, Tom Cruise's character Charlie is just so unlikable, and I think that's really hard to play as well. I think this is one of my favorite Tom Cruise performances because you'd see he's just going for something totally different.
Mhm.
Like Mission Impossible movies, Top Gun movies, he's playing like the it guy. This is like the one movie that I could think of where he's just, you don't like him.
Yeah.
Like every other movie, you like him, redeeming character throughout the other ones where like at first, like you kind of don't, but then earlier on, you like him. To this movie, until like the last 10 minutes of the movie, you still don't like him. You still think he's not a great person. And then the last 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, it's like the rewarding or like the, redeeming quality about him.
Yeah. Like you said, it's almost like his character in this is trying to be that it guy, but he just falls short. He just keeps falling short on what he's doing, whether it's making a bad decision or just having, like poor judgment over everything, the business, with his brother, all that. Getting into it, I give characters an 8. Obviously, the big ones, Raymond, played by Dustin Hoffman, was amazing. I think that was so crazy that he was able to play that character so well. And then obviously Charles by Tom Cruise.
Yeah. I think Dustin Hoffman character is great in it, like his performance, and there's a reason why I won an Oscar. This may be a hot take, but I think what Tom Cruise's character does in this movie is harder to actually act in the way of you're acting like Dustin Hoffman. He's got like this one, like he's pretty much playing like the same way, like every single time. Well, like Tom Cruise is like playing like this guy that's like being in like a not nice to him like the entire time, and then also developing himself throughout it. So I would say that I think his like performance is a little bit harder to achieve within like the grander scope of like the movie, since it's a one-on-one thing. Because you're kind of like playing to yourself at some point, because Raymond is just playing like a very like one way kind of like acting performance, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I think Dustin Hoffman did so well is, I mean, since this was in 1988, I don't know how much the like neurodivergent community and all that had been represented. I know there was like Of Mice and Men, which was very simplistic and very rough. And so like him showing that there is emotion and aspects to behind all that was really good. But Tom Cruise, him, he had the more normal role that actually showed the development, showed the growth in the character.
Yeah, I think something else to note about this movie is to get this movie that portrays like autism in a certain way, and then you got Forrest Gump that also does. I would say nowadays I don't think they can make a movie like this. I think a movie like this would be shut down really early. So it's also like a thing back then. I don't know if I don't think it ages kind of bad if like normal actors trying to play like a autistic person or something. But that's just like kind of like, there was a bunch of movies that did that at one point, just playing that. You got What's Eating Gilbert Grape too, that DiCaprio also did. But I think this is another note of like how good this movie is. because it also could not be made today. I really don't think that a movie like this would be greenlit.
Yeah, and with Dustin Hoffman, yeah, he's playing like an intentional one-dimensional character. And so I see what you're saying with Tom Cruise's character. He's got to like take what he's doing and make it two-dimensional, three-dimensional, just so people can also see the feelings displayed from Dustin Hoffman's character in Tom Cruise's character.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is going for it in this movie. You could tell.
Yeah.
Kind of a shame that he doesn't get nominated for anything. Like, I was really surprised when I saw that he didn't. Yeah, because apparently he had too much screen time to get Best Supporting Actor, even though I think he's the supporting actor in the movie. It's not like the whole story is revolved around Raymond, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then, but he had too much screen time, so then he's going up against Hoffman, and then he doesn't even get nominated. Kind of a shame.
Yeah. And then just to get into cinematography, I gave it a 6. It's an older film, but I think it, displayed camera angles just to show growth for both Raymond and Tom Cruise's character. Nothing special, but I thought it was pretty good.
I'm along the same lines. It being an 80s film, like, there was nothing too new, but it did a good job doing and expressing how the film was.
Yeah, I think a lot of the camera angles that they produce with this end up being used in like future films, especially like the walking up like through like a long driveway to their car. That was pretty cool. Like seeing how they do that a lot now, but I feel like back then that was like kind of a newer concept of like a faraway action. Yeah.
And then for dialogue, I gave it a 10. I think that this movie was so quotable, and I think Dustin Hoffman's lines were amazing, and Tom Cruise just banking off that, like we were kind of talking about. You would see points where Tom Cruise's character was kind of getting annoyed, and then so he starts repeating exactly what Dustin Hoffman's saying. Yeah. I thought that was awesome, and overall it was just exceptional in this movie. They're kind of banter, but they're also growth of their love for each other, because in the end, like, you can tell they both cared about each other.
Yeah, and how like at the beginning of the movie, he's like, I don't believe this gimmick. I think this is fake. This is fake. It's like another note of like probably in the 80s, people didn't know that much about like what autism was and like what actual like different types of it. So seeing like how himself progressing instead of like saying I don't believe it anymore into more of like a you're bet like I think there was like one line where he's like you know better than that, where it's like, but then he thinks to himself and then like stops and he's like, I'm sorry Raymond. Like kind of you see like that progression of him as like a person and character as well.
I really liked how even though Raymond's dialogue was very simple and it kept like had very repetitive phrases, you could still feel and kind of understand what he was meaning and how it actually meant more than what he was saying.
Yeah. So apparently Dustin Hoffman actually went to an institution and like learned off of people that were very similar to Raymond. And so like another thing about his performance is that he isn't like playing like a character. He's like playing people that he actually knew. So I thought that was also interesting. So he isn't just like basing it off of like, oh, what Raymond's supposed to be. He's basing it off. He's like, no, like he has like a interview where he says like, no, I'm playing someone that I actually have met. He's like, I've actually met people that talk this way, react this way. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think that just shows like his experience as an actor, like to be able to just not like read something on paper and be like, this is how I'm going to portray it, but to actually, go into the wild and say like, I'm going to learn hands-on basically is really cool way to look at this, especially something that's not been done that often before, like, Shane was saying. And then for set design, I gave it an 8. I said, great set design, showed different scenery, just traveling and displaying, the growth in the characters like we were talking about with road trips films, especially, for this, the Vegas scene, Raymond and Charlie, dressed up and everything is kind of showing their growth as people and moving up in the world, I guess. But I thought it was pretty good.
I love the Vegas scene. It's such an iconic like Vegas scene. I've heard people in the past say, well, you get the Rayman suite, and now it makes sense. It's like the Rayman suite is like the big suite. But yes, especially now living in Vegas, I was like, yeah, man, this kind of portrays it kind of perfect. Then, counting cards is like a bad thing, but like it's like a one night thing. And I don't think they would have actually cut them off of like how much money they made. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think back in the 80s they were cutting off people for getting for $100K personally. But
yeah.
And also big crowds around one table. I don't think that actually happens either unless you're a celebrity.
And then for acting, I gave it a 9. Just great showing out by Tom Cruise, Dustin Hoffman, and I said the supporting characters were fine at best. Susanna's character just kind of disappeared for half the movie and then came back. It felt like maybe like she had a filming clash or something came up where she couldn't be in half the movie and then just showed back up at the end. I'm not sure what that was all about. That felt like a really like non-needed plot point.
I think it wasn't needed, but also I think it shined the light on just
them two.
Yeah, Raymond and Charlie just being with each other. And so it gave it kind of a reason, even though like she like kind of was just like, I can't be around this anymore, kind of like a cop out reason. But I think it just more so like the point was to highlight their relationship together without like someone in the middle, because she was just like, she wasn't like being annoying or anything, but she was like definitely impacting the relationship at the beginning, and like rather than him learning by himself, it would be learning through her, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was the whole relationship was, or whole movie was their relationship and building on that. So like the supporting actors, they came in to kind of make the relationship, either put a stressor on the relationship or just make it go to the next step. Like I think it was Iris, the hooker that Dustin Hoffman wanted to dance with, and that like took the relationship to a whole nother step. And so it was using the supporting characters and actors for the main relationship.
Yeah. Another one I think of is Dr. Bruner, obviously. Mm-hmm. He's just there in the beginning and the end, but it is another stressor and strain on that relationship and building that up.
Yeah. To talk about Hoffman for a second, I wasn't familiar with like how great he was. Like, so he has 7 nominations for Best Actor in his career, which is insane. And he has 2 wins, Rain Man and Kramer vs. Kramer, which I haven't seen that, but having 7 nominations itself. And then listening to like at this level, when this movie came out, he was like on level with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, and Clint Eastwood were like the guys. Like those were like the big actors at this time. And then Tom Cruise was like kind of this new guy coming in, which now is like, now we know that he's like one of the biggest actors like, of all time, like gross, especially money wise. So I thought it was just like such an interesting concept where you got like one of the big guys already, one of the biggest actors, and you have one newcomer. And that's why this movie not just won Best Picture, but was the biggest like a grossing movie of the year, biggest box office, which I don't think a lot of movies that win Best Picture also have make the most money that year. So this is a very rare occurrence of having both. Just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah. For directing, I gave it an 8. It was directed by Barry Levinson. I think he told a great story. It was well paced, developed the characters, everything like that. I don't really have much nitpicky things to say about it. I think overall it was directed really well.
Yeah, he hasn't done much like big things since. Like I think this is like the only, this and Good Morning Vietnam are like the 2 movies I've seen from him. That's about it. Like it seems like Rain Man was like his big movie. He's been nominated for some other stuff though, but I think Rain Man is what he's going to be known for at the end of the day.
And then for soundtrack, I gave it an 8. It was a really good score. I had no idea it was Hans Zimmer until the credits in the beginning. I was like, seems like a weird movie for Hans Zimmer, but I think it used music to really push forward the narratives, especially I think of the scene where Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, he's teaching him how to dance. I thought that was really good, just for their character arc to kind of push forward the idea that Charlie does care about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is Hans Zimmer's first one by himself ever like composing a soundtrack at all, which is like kind of insane that the first one that he does by himself ends up winning Best Picture.
Yeah.
Just kind of shows like the reason why why he does all the big movies now. He is insane. You could just see like his like smaller works here now that just lead to like some crazy scores in some later movies.
And I liked that the soundtrack also wasn't overbearing. Like it wasn't always having music, always like that. In the scenes that needed music, yeah, it was great. But there was also a lot that was good, just the 2 main characters talking or like.
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes it can be really overbearing if, a soundtrack is taking over a film. Mm-hmm. But this was like perfect at just being there when it needed to be and being non-existent at the same time.
Yeah, it's so well done where if you hear the soundtrack by itself, it sounds like an 80s film. Like a lot of 80s films sound very similar, but it's just like the soundtrack just sounds like the 80s film. I don't know.
And then for theme, I gave it a 9. I thought there was a lot of great themes going on in this movie. I specifically wrote down, family bonds is a big one, as well as personal growth. They're both kind of growing throughout the movie. And then obviously we dive into the complexities of autism a lot in this film.
Yeah, I thought the theme was great as well. Definitely, again, a unique film in the way that the themes were portrayed. I think that won't be done now and then haven't been done well since. I don't think there's a lot of movies that portray it well or like what they're really going after.
Any notes on the theme, Shane?
Just the kind of overall theme of family and like how much of an impact it has on people's life. Like he didn't know it was his brother until 6 days before, I think, the end of the movie, but he did not want to give up his brother. But then also just the acceptance of the things you can control versus what you can't control. Like he can't control his brother. His brother's not going to change. Dustin Hoffman's not going to change. And realizing that the best option for him is actually staying at the institution and then controlling, but still being able to control and come see him and be a part of his life still.
Yeah, I agree. And I think obviously at the beginning he was so dead set on the money, but I think there was a small part of him that started eating away at him. Like he just wishes he had a relationship with his brother the whole time rather than that being hid from him as well. And then for editing, I gave it a 7. I said it was fine at best. There was really good scenes. I mean, I don't think at the time you're going to get anything crazy editing wise, but everything looked good. I think the road trip scenes, them in the car, looked really good. And obviously displaying the different settings they were driving through. They were driving through basically the whole country. So they had to change up that scenery a lot. And then I guess this goes more into set design. I didn't talk about it, but just they were always at like a really different looking hotel. And I think the idea of having Raymond to always want the bed right next to the window. So they had to make sure they stopped somewhere with a window. I thought that was always cool.
And then like being able to drive that distance going 35 miles per hour. I don't know how realistic that is, but like, man, yeah.
So for my final score, I gave it a 8.1 out of 10 or 81. I really enjoyed this movie. And I think, like you said with the last one too, maybe it's just something about road trip movies, but super rewatchable. I'd watch this again, no problem.
Yeah. No, it's a super rewatchable movie. I gave it a 7.8 out of 10. About the very similar score. I really liked it. Yeah.
I was at a 7.5. It was a great movie. And I guess I could have gone a little higher with it, but kind of like the more just general cinematography and editing that because it was a 80s film, it didn't get as much of a high rating as some of the newer stuff.
Yeah. Who is your guys' favorite character?
I think mine was definitely Ray. I just think that it was so perfectly displayed. Even like, obviously he like was repeating stuff a lot, but you could tell like how his character was developing. Like even at the end, he finally laughed at a joke. He finally taught him what a joke was, and he finally like learned what that is. And I thought that was so great.
Yeah.
I also agree. Raymond was my favorite character, especially with like him having the changes, like you were saying, the jokes, and then also dancing, which it didn't seem like he ever did before or anything like that. And being able to still show and express his emotions in his own way.
Yeah, mine is Susanna. I'm joking. It's definitely Charlie. I don't know. I really like Tom Cruise's performance. I think that it's just such a different movie seeing him in this aspect compared to a lot of other ones where he's playing like the main guy. See him in like a non-likable role was so interesting, and I wish like he ended up doing more roles like this and really just going for it. What about favorite scene?
Yeah, my favorite scene was definitely the scene in the Rain Man suite where they were teaching Raymond how to dance. But close second too was Dustin kissing Susanna, and then not even that scene, just Tom Cruise finding out about it later on.
Mine was actually the diner scene, like pretty early on, because it was like the first moment Charlie was actually starting to realize that there was more to Raymond than just being autistic, and like how smart he was, and there was other aspects. Charlie was still very upset with him the entire scene, but it was like that first little like hint of it.
Yeah. Surprised we never talked about this. This isn't my favorite scene, but I think it should just be noted. Like the sex scene where they're having sex. He's like, and then he sees the TV show and he just wants to go watch the TV, but he keeps going, you cannot do that now, I think. But that was so funny. And I was like, yep, this movie was made in the 80s for sure, man.
Yeah.
I thought that was so interesting. Probably a really hard scene to film. My actual favorite scene though was like the airlines one where like he's just trying to go on a plane. He's like, let's get to LA already. And then he just keeps noting off like all different like airline crashes and all this. And then I don't remember the one he says. It's like Quinneshaw Airlines or something like that. And he's like, that one's never. And he's like, oh, okay. So yeah, that airline's, huh? Yeah, that one.
Only in Australia or something like
that. Yeah. He's like, well, thank you, Raymond. I thought that was awesome. But yeah, cool. So now we are going to get into the draft. So how the draft will work is it's a stake draft, and we'll do random names, and it's going to be with 6 different categories, and it's going to be all road trip films. So anything that involves a road that they're doing a journey across to. One specific note I want to make is that space movies do not count. Okay.
That's fair.
Okay. Yeah. I think space should be like a total different thing. Like
space trip. We'll do that next week on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's just a way different, because then you could just get into every single Star Wars movie. It's like, all right, I don't think those count. But anything else, like we'll discuss if it's like borderline or if we're like, but okay. I have a random name generator. The categories. Let me say the categories real quick. So the categories that we are picking from is Oscar nominations. So the movie just needs any Oscar nomination. Comedy/horror, which will probably just be comedy. Box office, over 200 million worldwide. Drama/thriller/action, pre-2000. So the 20th century. And then wild card. So it can be any type of road trip movie that you want it to be. So who's going first? Going to be Justin.
Sweet. So
Justin,
you want to go ahead and spin for 2 and 3? Yeah.
Yeah. And going second is going to be Shane. So it's Justin, Shane, and then me, and then Snake Style. So let's get it going.
Right. I'm going to start. Welcome our guest on and take his favorite movie that he mentioned in the beginning. I'm going to take Forrest Gump with number 3 specifically. So box office over 200.
Okay.
Sorry to do that to you, man.
It's all good. I actually had a question mark. I was like, that kind of would work as a road trip movie.
I think it does, even though like he's like telling a story. It is about him like going on like this whole road trip like throughout the film.
I mean, his whole life was a road trip to meet his son.
And like if you look up road trip movies, this one is like almost on every list. So I think it counts for sure.
Yeah. Overall, just a great movie. Obviously, everybody I think has seen this movie. But yeah, classic for sure.
Dude, I mean, Forrest Gump. If you haven't seen Forrest Gump as an American, then like I don't trust you. Like I feel like it's just like a quintessential like American movie that you need to watch at least once in your life.
Yeah.
So for my choice, I don't know the strategy to this game, but I'm going to start with Oscar nominations and do Thelma and Louise. I've not seen the movie, but I've definitely heard about it a lot. It won Oscar for Best Actress in Leading Role. Oh, wait, no. It won a Best Writing Screenplay written directly for the screen. Yeah. I've not seen it, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. It's a 1991 film, and maybe I'll have to watch it here soon.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to take it with your first pick, you should probably watch it.
Yeah.
Like at some point in the next couple of days. It's directed by Ridley Scott. That's wild. I didn't know Ridley Scott did a movie like this.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, he did like Alien, Blade Runner, and then he's like, yeah, you know what? Let me do Thelma and Louise. And then he just goes right back to G.I. Jane and Gladiator and Black Hawk Down. All right. Interesting movie choices by Ridley Scott, but good for him. Yeah, I've never seen it either, so I can't really talk about it.
I saw it like on the top of the list for all the road trip type movies.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about it too. It definitely seemed like definitely a quintessential road trip movie. Okay. For my first pick, I'm going to go in Oscar nomination, and I'm going Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay.
I think I know what you're coming back with here then.
Have you guys seen Mad Max Fury Road?
No, I haven't.
I have.
Neither of you? Okay. That movie rocks.
Yeah,
it's like the whole movie is like they're on this road trip, but like it's like a killer road trip. It's awesome, dude. Nicholas Hoult, Tom Hardy. I even like Fury too. I would say this one's more of a road trip, like Mad Max is itself, because they're trying to like go to like this great destination, pretty much like Eden. But yeah, I love this movie. Probably one of my favorite movies. I think this is like number 1 road trip movie that I had on my list, like ever. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. Yeah. Wow. So for comedy, I'm going with Borat.
Okay. That's
really
good.
I think this is the top comedy for me on this. There's a lot of comedies, so there's like really hard to choose from. But Borat was one of those movies, so I was like, I need that movie because again, for me, it's like my I think it's my favorite comedy. Like I just think it's hilarious. It's a 5 out of 5 for me, and yeah, it was nominated for an Oscar too, so like that's kind of wild just to how great that performance was. And it's based off of like a character that he played in the Ali G show. And then it became so popular that he ended up making a movie off of it. And then Borat is so quotable. King of the castle, king of the castle. Man, I love Borat.
So I'm
All right,
also,
Shane,
for my pick number 2, I'm going to also do comedy and horror, but I'm going to try to actually hit both of those with Zombieland.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
like that pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zombieland's a great movie. I think we touched on it a little bit last week or the week before with Emma Stone, but it's really a classic, really good movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Zombieland's so funny.
Where are they trying to go again in that movie? Is Cleveland? Are they trying to get to Cleveland?
No, he's trying to get to Cleveland, but then he ends up like saying like, never mind. And then they end up going to like a amusement park. But Jesse Eisenberg's character is trying to get to Cleveland though.
Yeah, that's why it was hitting me.
Oh, Cleveland.
In the zombie walk, why would you want to go to Cleveland?
Yeah.
It's where his family lives, all right? Cleveland's a great city. The zombies don't even want to be in Cleveland, so that's why you want to go to Cleveland.
All right. For mine, you guys can tell me if this doesn't count. I have a backup. I really love this film for Oscar nominations. It is Apocalypse Now. I know they're not always on a road.
Okay.
That was like a premise. They're on boat too.
That's like, I had this movie up there too, and it's a really hard, because I think there's a difference between like a journey movie and like
Yeah.
Shane, have you seen it?
A long time ago. I'm trying to remember.
Okay. I don't know.
Tell me if it doesn't. It's okay.
I don't think so, personally.
Okay.
So, because when I was doing it, I decided, I was like, I don't think it is. So I just totally took it off my list.
Actually, you might not like this one either. I'll say my backup was Stand By Me.
I think that one counts because it's a railroad.
Yeah. That
And they're
works.
traveling across a railroad the whole time.
I'll go with Stand By Me as my Oscar nomination.
Yeah. That,
And then
I mean, we
gotta
talked about
let
it
it come
last
back.
week.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Like, Stand By Me is probably a top 10 movie for me all time.
I'm shocked it's on the board, honestly. I thought,
I think you were shocked that I think you were shocked.
That's what I thought you were taking. Yeah.
It's because I wanted some disparity. I think Stand By Me, I think I picked it enough.
Yeah. God, I'm really like pushing the boundary here, I feel like.
Wait, where did you take Stand By Me?
For Oscar nomination. You guys can tell me if this one doesn't count either. I'm going to go Snowpiercer at number 4.
Oh, it counts. Again,
Yeah, I
railroad.
think so too. I mean,
Yeah.
railroad, but you're also working. The road is the rail cars, and just kind of working up. That movie's great. I saw that for the first time like a year or two ago, and yeah, wow, it's such an amazing story.
You took it in drama action, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, like probably Chris Evans' best performance, in my opinion.
yeah,
I wish he would go out there and try these kind of movies again. I saw him in Materialist. I think he's also Materialist. Like comes off as a rom com. It's not a true rom com. Like it's actually like a really like romance drama movie that I think he's also really good in.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he just that and Knives Out. I like when he just goes for different types of performances rather than like this like Hollywood leading charming guy.
Yeah. I had only seen him in like Fantastic Four, Captain America, and then to see him in the role like Snowpiercer, I was like kind of blown away. I didn't know he had that in his bag.
Okay, Shane.
Oh, yeah. It's me then. Let's go pre-2000s. I think I'm going to go with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Classic one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a classic. I haven't seen this in forever, but I remember watching it like growing up a lot.
And like Trains, Automobiles, that's a road trip right there.
Yeah. You got Steve Barton doing his thing, which he's in the new show that you're watching, Only Murders in the Building.
Yep.
Yeah. He was on a crazy run for a second there. And then like he like disappeared
was.
for a while. And then he like, cause he's a stand up too, and then he came all of a sudden back with like Only Murders in the Building. So good for him. Okay. Back to me. So I'm going pre-2000 and I'm going with one of the movies we did this week with Rain Man.
Okay.
I think this was like one of the smaller pre-2000 lists, or like a list that I had personally. So I'm glad that this was still there. We already talked about Rain Man enough, but great movie. And then for box office, let me just do it. Yep. For for box office, I'm going with, if you guys can tell me if you don't count this, I think it does count. Logan.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it counts.
I would count that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely made over 200 million.
yeah, really good movie.
Yeah, crazy good movie. Drop like the comic book is great, and then somehow this movie like does it perfectly, and like the way man Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine kind of makes fun of it, but I think Logan is just like such a good standalone movie within itself. It doesn't need anything else around it.
Yeah.
It's you, Shane.
It is? Okay. You did your two? Okay.
Yep.
Another maybe controversial one, but I'm going to do box office and do Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. I mean, their whole journey is to Mordor. So, like, there's roads and paths on there. I don't know. If you guys say no, then no.
I think because like I'm trying to compare it to Apocalypse Now, but the difference is Apocalypse Now they aren't really going on like any definition of a road.
Yeah,
While like this one, like they don't have like roads.
Yeah,
The
it's-
road is like these paths. Kind of like how Mad Max Fury Road, there was no like road, but like it's because the world doesn't have a road.
Dirt. Yeah.
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 I think
So I
fine.
think it counts.
All right.
And you said Return of the King.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do for pre-2000. I'm gonna do Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Same premise for like this world doesn't really have roads yet, but they are on the journey to get there.
For the Holy Grail?
A
Yeah.
hilarious movie. I
Yeah.
thought about fitting this into comedy, but I ran out of older movies.
Crazy. The last draft, Monty Python was also chosen. I think we would have known that Monty Python gets back-to-back picks in the draft.
So good. And then I think for comedy, horror, I'm gonna do Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Have you guys seen that movie before?
I have not.
No.
I really like it, and I recommend it to anybody. It's with George Clooney. It's actually like a retelling of some small snippets of the Odyssey in a movie. It's pretty cool. It's just like a period piece on some small stories like that. But they are, on a road trip the whole time doing so. It's really good. It's really good.
We almost chose it this week, but
Yeah.
I think I'm glad that we chose it once we did.
Yeah, I am too. These were amazing this week.
All right.
For my drama thriller action, I think I'm going to go with Dog. Have you all seen that one yet?
I
haven't.
have.
With
I
Channing
think that's such a
Tatum?
slept-on movie.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get the love it got, but like, it's actually like looking really good, and also like a great dog film. If you like dog films, like this movie's awesome.
Yeah. Pulls at the strings for the dog. Yeah. Heartstrings.
Yeah. Heartstrings. Like this dog goes through like, because he was with the army unit, right?
Yeah. Rangers or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Channing Tatum's also like great in it.
Yeah.
And he's not just doing a usual Channing Tatum role.
He's bringing the dog to the dog was one of his teammates' dogs, and the teammate was the handler. The teammate died, and they were bringing the dog to the teammate's funeral. Is the whole premise.
Yeah. I really liked it. I think when did it come out? 2023, right? Or 24?
It was 22.
Okay. Yeah. I remember like randomly one day I like put it on and I was like, okay, why would no one talked about this movie, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was surprised by it. It's a surprising one. In drama and action, I am going to take, I can't believe I'm getting both of the movies this week on my list. Almost Famous. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I got it. Having both of them on the list is kind of crazy, but we already talked about it enough, but really big surprise how much I actually ended up liking this movie. But yeah. Now, wild think, because I got a lot on this list.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I'm going to vamp a little bit. I think I'm just going to go with my gut, and I'm going to take National Lampoon's Vacation.
Okay.
Yep. Another pre-2000s one, but like, what a classic.
It is.
Like, so many things. They try to redo it with Ed Helms, and I'm sorry, but like, they couldn't even do it half the justice of like the original. The original's so good. Chevy Chase killing it in his scene. I also like how every single movie with like Chevy Chase and like the National Lampoon with around like the Griswolds, it changes. Like the kids change in every single movie. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah. It's always different.
Yeah, I'm like, all right. So the mom and dad are the same, but different kid actors for every single one, which I think is like part of like why it's so funny as well. I think Christmas is my favorite out of like the whole series personally.
It's definitely the best one, I believe.
Christmas is
Yeah,
the best one.
it's like Christmas and then this one, and then the other two I think are like quite lower and like ratings, but like the first, like those two are.
Yeah. All right. So then it's for my wild card. I'm gonna go with We're the Millers for mine.
Yeah.
Hilarious movie. Got its a
Jason
little bit of action
Sudeikis.
in there too. All of it.
Kind of a crazy like acting or like cast when you think
Yeah.
about it. Jason Sudeikis, who at this point was just SNL, so like this was kind of his like first big movie, I would say. This and Horrible Bosses,
Yeah.
and now he's won a couple of Emmys for.
Oh yeah, I'm actually looking at all of them now, and even like the smaller characters are now big too.
Yeah, it's actually
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah.
For mine is the wild card as well. Did we all wait to do wild card last?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of
smart plays,
hard.
guys.
Yeah, smart play.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Smokey and the Bandit. I knew this one would sit out here for a while, but this one just means a lot to me. I always used to watch this with my grandpa growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen this movie, Burt Reynolds?
Long
I
time.
probably have.
Yeah.
Probably have, and I just don't remember.
Yeah. It's a really good movie. The idea is centered around like we can't sell Coors east of the Mississippi, so he's got to take it from Texas to Georgia, get it there. It's really funny comedy movie, but good action too. Obviously, driving across the country, it just kind of holds a place in my heart.
Yeah, I definitely would try to rewatch it, and or like if my nephews ever watch it, I'd probably just sit down there and watch it with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I definitely have seen this before. I just don't. Okay, so we'll go through each other's teams. My team for Oscar nom, I had Mad Max Fury Road, Box Office, Logan, comedy, Borat, drama, action, Almost Famous, pre-2000, Rain Man, and Wild Card, National Lampoon's Vacation. You guys want me to read off your teams?
For Oscar nominations, I had Thelma and Louise. Comedy and horror had Zombieland. For box office was Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Drama thriller action was Dog. Pre-2000s Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. And then wild card was We're the Millers.
Yep. And then for Oscar nomination, I had Stand By Me. For comedy horror, I had Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And then box office over 200, Forrest Gump. Drama, thriller, action, I had Snowpiercer. Pre-2000, I had Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And then wild card, I had Smokey and the Bandit.
These are some
They're all
strong
pretty
teams.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
some strong teams.
I'm going to go through some honorable mentions, stuff that I had on my list that we didn't get to. I don't know if this would have counted, but Revenant, because again, it's like there is no like real roads back then, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's like doing his own little travel. Tommy Boy, another pre-2000 comedy. Harold and Kumar, go to White
Yeah.
Castle.
Yeah, that was on my wild card.
It's like it's they're on a road, but it's not that far. It's just because they're high, so they don't actually. It's a funny movie. Finding Nemo was another movie.
Okay.
Because again, there's like no road.
Yeah.
They're just swimming. Like that is their road. Dumb and Dumber. I was really surprised no one
Yeah.
picked this.
Yeah.
Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Spring Breakers, Queen and Slim, which is very interesting movie. Daniel Kaluuya. I recommend it if you like want to watch a movie and you're just like, what is going on? Bone Tomahawk. Also, warning to that movie. I really liked it, but there was like a certain scene towards the end of the movie that like visibly gags you, and you're like, oh my, really gory. True Grit, and then a new movie that I watched this week for this to preparation because I heard great things and I liked it, but not over the movies I picked, was American Honey. It has Shia LaBeouf in it. It's an A24 movie about these adolescent kids, and then they get into some trouble and have to go pretty much running away from cops.
I also wanted to bring up Due Date. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yep,
That's a
I
pretty
had
good
that
one
on
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one, which Cars, would that count? Like,
He
it
stopped
starts
for
off
a
with
while.
a road trip, and then it kind of
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like most of the movie is actually in that town, but
yeah. Another one was Into the Wild. Is a really good movie, dark movie, hard movie, but good.
I've never seen it, so that's why I didn't put it on my list. But that's like a quintessential like road trip movie that I saw on a bunch of lists. I have a bunch of ones that I wanted to watch this week. Just there's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Never seen it. Carol. Never seen it. Drive. I've never seen it. The one with Ryan Gosling, and then Nomadland. And then,
Nomadland.
there's one movie that I thought Justin was going to pick, but thank God he didn't. Green Book. I don't like Green Book. I just like that to be known now. Not a big Green Book guy. But yeah, cool. Well, thanks Shane for coming.
Yeah, it was a great
Has
time.
anybody seen Cannonball Run? My parents talk about it. And apparently it's like really cool. It's about like celebrities racing across the U.S. on this like highway system they call Cannonball Run.
Yeah, so
Oh, is it called Rat Race?
No, it's called
Or
Cannonball
is that a
Run.
different one?
so it's actually
Oh.
I'm pretty sure Cannonball. I don't know. The Cannonball Run is a real thing that people do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the movie is basically like a documentary of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they drive from. They have different routes, but a lot of the time it's from like New York City to LA, and it's just millionaires being dumb driving cars.
But yeah, this was a fun podcast. Thanks for coming, Shane.
Yeah, I had a great
Yeah.
time. Watched two
Thank you.
movies that I probably wouldn't have watched otherwise, and they were both fantastic. So I'm really happy with doing this.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for listening. Next week we are doing Jake Gyllenhaal films, right?
Yep.
Next week. Yep, Jake Gyllenhaal films. So look forward to that next week. Thank you for listening.
Yep. See you guys.